Hi, Karen. I'm so happy to see you, and I feel like I'm in the best mood today.
Oh, Katie, it is always wonderful to see your beautiful face. And congratulations, as we were just discussing, it is the 12th, no, math is
Four-
hard,
14th. Yes.
anniversary of your engagement.
You're right. It is. Thank you so much. Yes, December 7th, 2008. I got engaged in Singapore. I put something on Instagram today about it. It was one of those things where, you know how like on your phone or if you use like Shutterfly or something, it's like on this day 15 years ago. And there was something that was like on this day 14 years ago. And I was like, oh my God. And then I was like, huh, I should put something on Instagram about this. I haven't really
Oh,
been posting on Instagram. So yeah, it's kind of fun. It's interesting because this is a weird thing to mention, but like today is also the anniversary of D-Day.
oh,
And
right.
so Tyler's grandfather was in D-Day. And so like it's like a huge part of his story and he was in the Navy. And so I don't know, it was like it's like also there's a good memory as part of this date as well, I guess. Or wait, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this isn't D-Day. Maybe this is the day that Pearl Harbor was bombed.
Ooh, I think December 7th is Pearl Harbor. I think D-Day is during the summer.
Oh my God, you're so right. It's Pearl Harbor.
It is Pearl Harbor.
Shit, man. I don't know what today is from. Okay, what is that? 1942?
For
Five?
oh my God. Amy, my Jeopardy star friend Amy is screaming
Oh
at her
God.
podcast player right now. 45? What year was
I can say with confidence that sometime between 42 and 45. I don't know. Or 41. Shit. 40s. In the
Oh,
40s.
41? That sounds right.
You think it was 41? The day that lives in infamy. Isn't that what FDR said?
I mean, I refuse to Google it, even though we're both probably
No,
sitting next to our computers.
we are.
Yeah.
We are. Yeah. So, anywho, lots of anniversaries today, but thank you. Yeah, it's a
Hmm.
nice, wonderful holiday. And also, well, holiday, I guess, for me, or, anniversary. Also, Tyler's gone for the week. And it's like the best thing ever because, like, which
Oh,
sounds horrible.
God.
Love him. I love him. I really do. But I also, not but, and I also love when I have the house to myself, Karen. I mean, you know this. I feel like it's amazing, and I'm not, like, oppressed in my relationship. There's nothing wrong. It's just that, like, when I don't have the energy of another human in the house, I mean, I told you earlier, I'm
I
getting a
know.
Chipotle quesadilla, I'm gonna crack a beer, I'm gonna sit in my bathtub, I'm gonna watch some trashy television. There's nothing better. Nothing. I mean, other than being with him, Tyler, if you're listening. But, but really, I think it's okay to want to be alone, you know? He's not listening.
dripping, dripping with sincerity.
Yes.
Except for being with you, Tyler.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you live with someone all the time, being solo is like a treat and a half.
Man, that is real. And hmm, I feel like you're so excited about it. It makes me happy. I feel like once when you were in the house alone, like you went to a rooftop bar by yourself and you had these like beautiful photos of your cocktail with the
Yes.
view. I mean, you're making the most of it.
I think the thing is that I have to embrace the fact that I really actually love being alone. Like I used to go on solo trips frequently before COVID, and it's like I think I forget that I like that, and I think it would be good to remember that. I seriously think it will be helpful when I listen back on this recording because I should plan like, a night away or not like whatever. Like just like and even if you live alone, like going on a vacation by yourself, like that's just, it doesn't have to be something fancy if you don't want it to be like I don't know. It's just special to treat yourself.
1,000%. It's so funny. I am so happy for you when you talk about these things. I'm so happy for you, slash worried for myself because I live alone. MLB lives alone. What happens when we live together? Like, I just keep broadcasting out to my future of like, are you still here?
The person you are right now, you mean?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Or just thinking like, am I going to get to this point where I'm looking at them just thinking like, don't you have to go somewhere? Like,
aren't you late for something that takes 3 days? Like, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Karen, I can tell you with a lot of confidence that you will be the same person and that you will. I think it's also like there's just everyone's complex, and it's like it's nice to just tap into the parts of you that are, like showing up in the moment, and then like when you and MLB are, together in the same place, like you might not feel this way for a long time, and then maybe you will, and that's okay too, and then you'll get back together. Like it's I don't know. I think there's actually like a weird I was having a conversation with a friend about this who is married also, and he was talking about how like he had never taken any solo trips because he felt bad. He was like, "Well, what does that mean? Like if I don't want to go, if he didn't want to go with his husband." And I was like, it means nothing. Like, it means nothing. It's okay. Like, it's okay to want to be by yourself or want to be together, whatever it is. But not tamping down the stuff that feels real to you or like true to you.
Oh man, that's a whole other episode.
It
This I
is.
that we've right this that I think we've talked about a little bit. Like I have a dear friend who is very wise, and I feel like talked about looking back on a relationship that had ended and wishing that so the relationship ends, and then I know I've mentioned this before, she starts doing a lot of the things she either stopped doing because her partner didn't like doing them, or that she never explored because that time she would have done those things, she was with her partner. So their schedules were.
Ooh.
And just looking back and thinking, like, what if I had invested this energy in myself and my interests and who I want to be during the relationship?
Yes. Yes. And to feel free enough in the relationship to explore different parts of yourself. That's hard though. Like, I think that it's hard to always like I definitely have that where I think like, well, am I going to do X, Y, and Z because I don't like if I do, then will it mean that we'll be, apart more, meaning like we'll actually grow apart, like genuinely grow apart. And I think that when I've found that like if I'm true to myself and I do the stuff that I care about, it actually brings us closer, but I don't think that's always the case. And it's like and sometimes it is a challenge because often what I'll do is I'll not often or I used to do, don't I try not to do as much anymore, is like push. Like, hey, this is really going to be fun. And he might not be into it. And then he'll be like, okay, fine. And then it actually backfires. I should have done it by myself. And there's nothing wrong about doing things by yourself. If that's what, if the other person doesn't want to, it's okay.
Absolutely. And it's so healthy. And I think it takes a lot of confidence in yourself and security in your relationship to do it. I think when I think
Yes.
about like when I was younger, couples I knew, like I feel like I just knew women who were just like, my husband wants to go on a guy's trip. And I was like, absolutely not. Like, really?
But like she would forbid him?
Yes. Like,
Oh
oh, I'm
God.
so like would be like, and the husband would eventually like assert some kind of autonomy and go on this boys trip. And then, she just would make it miserable. Like, I just remember that particular woman in my life and just thinking, like, how insecure are you that you can't let this person be himself and have friendships and have a life outside of you?
Yeah. Yeah. That gets deep. Like to let someone be themselves. Oh God. Because that means you also have to be yourself. Or at least like
Mm.
not hang on to the control of another person to, you know, become the Gumby version of themselves to fit in the box that you're trying to make them into. Like that's relationships.
We went deep fast this
We
week, you
did.
guys.
Yeah.
We
That's here we are. Welcome.
what is the opposite of keeping it light?
Yeah, exactly. That's right. That was last week. Yeah. Just, yep, contorting yourself for another person. That's the opposite. Yes.
Ooh.
Ooh, that's so real. Oh, okay. So, Karen, I have some updates.
Okay, I was going to ask questions, but
Oh, please go ask away. I
no,
think,
I suspect you're going to talk about what I was curious about.
is it the gnats?
Yes.
Okay. So, really good news. Good news on two fronts. Number one, Gnatgate is not it's not a la war anymore, I will say. I wish that I should take a picture of my office. I have two infrared lights that are plugged into the outlets next to me. They're actually kind of hurting my eyes, but I'll deal with it because they like have these traps inside of these like containers on top of the light. It's like a night light. But anyway, it's supposed to trap the gnats. And then I also went to, after I talked to you last, I went to this like incredible plant store and they basically helped me go nuclear on my gnats, which has helped tremendously. And I actually I would say that my number of gnats has gone down by probably 70% since last
Ooh.
week. So that's very, very exciting. I also realized that they're not gnats, they're root aphids. For you plant nerds out there, they are basically really horrible, sadistic, like, insects that like attach themselves to your roots and will just continue to breed forever unless you put some, I'm using some organic pesticides things in addition to diatomaceous earth, which is like
Oh,
this.
yes.
You've heard of diatomaceous earth.
Yes,
Diatomaceous
we
earth is
talked about it.
we did talk about it. Oh my gosh, that's right, because you knew
Yeah.
about it and I was like, what is that? So I've been using diatomaceous earth, which is amazing, and it's basically
Yeah.
like it feels like flour, like baking
Yes.
flour. Yeah, so you've used it. Yes. Okay. So you put it on top of the soil and it cuts the aphids to pieces when they try to walk through it. Like literally like swords.
Yep.
It's
Yeah, yeah.
intense.
It's like diatomaceous earth is like it's like fossilized something.
Yes, exactly. But it doesn't hurt humans or pets.
Yes,
So,
we were okay. This must have been off pod that, but yes, we were talking about it because I had an ant infestation.
oh, that's right. You did tell me about this. Yes. And
Yeah.
it just killed it all. It was like
And
done.
I never saw any. I didn't. It's not like I saw ant carcasses. Nothing. They just disappeared.
Oh my God, that's so amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, this it's super cheap too. It's like nothing. It's
Oh
like
yeah.
you just get it for like a buck or a couple bucks. So Natgate has been going really, really well. I will say that there are a few outliers, and hopefully they're just like, you know, they're the last of their breed and they will die along with everyone else. I'm also a plant or like obviously a plant lover, but an animal lover. And it feels weird to just be like cutting animals into pieces, but I don't give a fuck about those root aphids. So they have ruined my last month. And so they can just, yeah, die in their diatomaceous earth.
Yeah. No, I mean, there has to be some mutuality. They have to love you back, and they don't.
Yeah, there's no reciprocal love here. There's like no, they haven't like hung out with me in a good consensual way. Like I'm not into their infestation in my life. Like I didn't invite them. So bye-bye. Number 2. So I have my other update for you is about my sauna night with all of my new friends. So did I tell you about the fact that we were gonna like do the cold plunge? This is a
Oh,
couple. So
yes.
this is a couple episodes ago. So I am manifesting this night where there's going to be a sauna next to that's on wheels that you rent, and then it's next to the river, and then you go from the sauna to the like jumping literally in the river,
Ugh.
back and forth, and then we're gonna go to a Thai restaurant. This is happening tomorrow. This
Wait,
time
what?
tomorrow, yes. And I have recruited 7 people. And so 7 people, including myself. So I'm super excited. But one of the things that I'm really excited about is the fact that I didn't have enough people. And I was like, okay, what am I going to do? And I was like, it's fine. If it's a small group, it's no big deal. So my dad and Betty and I, because my dad and Betty were visiting this past week, which was wonderful, we went to REI yesterday, 2 days ago, I think. And we were walking around REI, and this woman who works there, she was like, oh, I love your earrings to me. So I strike up a conversation with her. And about maybe 3 minutes in, I was like, don't want to be creepy, but would you be interested in coming to this cold plunge evening? Her name's Kathleen. She's great. She's bringing a friend. And I guess we're just friends now. So yeah, my door is open.
Katie. I
We also,
mean,
we exchange Instagram handles as well. I'm back on that.
I know. Ooh, I knew that you were going to manifest this adventure.
You did? Thank you
Oh,
for
yeah.
believing in me, Karen.
Oh, there was like there were all of the elements were there. You were specific. You told the universe, like you took action. You told the universe what you wanted
It's true. It's true.
multiple times over. And boom, I knew
Happened.
this was going to happen. I'm so excited. I cannot wait to hear about how this goes. Okay, is it appropriate to ask what the weather's going to be, or just do we not talk about
Oh
it?
no, of course. I'm very happy to talk to you about it because all right, so the temperature of the water is
Ooh,
36 degrees. Just found that out. That's a little intense. The air temperature I actually think might be the same. I think it's going to be like maybe 40 at the highest, and it will be actively snowing during our experience, which kind of seems magical to me. I mean, that's cool. I think that it's like, why not? If it's like, gross and raining, obviously that would be really crappy. But no, it's going to be snowing. So, yeah, I think that the weather is going to. Okay, I will say that, like, yes, I'm all excited and I'm acting like this is the best thing ever. I'm pretty scared too.
oh God.
I am. I really am. I'm not going to dunk. I'm not going to put my head under. I genuinely do not want to get hypothermia. I don't want to get pneumonia, all of the above. And so I'm going to wear a hat and a scarf around my neck, and then I'm going to go up to my shoulders. That's my hope. But I will say, Karen, that I actually am nervous. I really am. And now it's like I've built this thing up, and all these women are coming with me, and they're just like, Katie must know what she's talking about. I don't have any fucking idea what I'm doing. I'm making this up in the moment, and I'm probably going to cry to myself. I don't know.
I love this journey for you.
Thank you. It's
Love that
growth.
you're making friends. Like, like I said, I cannot wait to hear how this goes. I'm just so excited that you manifested this group of people that what, 2-3 weeks ago, you didn't even have.
I
You
didn't
just
know
had
them.
the booking. Right. Oh, I love this. So
Thank
good.
you. Thank you, Karen. I really appreciate your support. I will keep you posted, and listeners, you will hear all about it in next week's episode because yeah, it will have happened. I won't chicken out. I was just going to say, unless I chicken out, but I'm not going to chicken out because all
Oh
of these
no.
people are going. I can't chicken out. Yeah.
Oh man.
So, anywho, that's me. But how has your week been? How have you been since Thanksgiving? I guess that's
Wait,
Thanksgiving. Wait, did we talk before Thanksgiving?
after we've talked after.
You're right. We have talked after Thanksgiving. Okay. So, early December timeframe.
Ugh,
How's that
fuck.
going?
How is it the first week? It's I don't even
Seriously.
know what to say. It's good so far. I have no I have no complaints.
That's good.
I mean, I always have complaints, but um yeah, I think I mentioned to you I've been having really strange, very vivid dreams the last 3 nights.
Whew.
And I'll just tell you a snippet of the one from last night that is so hilarious to me. I was at Cindy's house, at Americano Angel's house.
Yes. Hi, Cindy.
Hi, Cindy. And but Cindy wasn't there. It was just this group of people with a bunch of dogs and toddlers. And I was dog sitting and babysitting all like this shit ton of dogs and this cabal of toddlers.
Oh my God. That sounds like my version of hell. That sounds horrible.
Oh my God. So, like, have you ever seen like somebody dog walk, like a dog, professional dog walker? They have those leashes that have the like million,
Totally.
like Spider-Man treads on it.
Yeah.
So I've got the dogs. I think there may be like 11 dogs and like 11 kids or something, right? And I've got the kids on this like little like it's so what's so funny is that it's like from this thing I see every day, there's this daycare center near my house where they have the kids holding on to this like chain gang thing. Basically, they're like they're not chained together, but they're all holding on to this thing and they're all walking right
Yeah.
in a line. So this is I kind of have like a very shady version of that in the dream with
Got
the
it.
kids and the dogs. And I've got like both hands. And then one of the dogs stops to poop. And I'm like, oh shit, do I even have poop bags? And the dog's making a funny face. So I take out my camera to take a picture of the dog. And then I look up again and everyone's gone.
Oh
The dogs and the children have disappeared.
my
And
God.
I'm like, oh my God. And at first I think it's funny. I'm like, oh my God. I look away for a second and you all are gone. And that as the dream goes on, I become increasingly frantic as I realize that I have lost all of these people's children and their dogs.
Holy shit. I mean, that's getting worse and worse. This is a horror movie now. Like, this is like
Oh
full
my
on.
God. It really was. And it was like, I would see random children and I'd be like, hey, are you supposed to be with me? And then then the mom
Random
is
kids.
just like,
They're like,
because
I'm going to kidnap you.
exactly, like, right, just to see if the parents will notice that it's not their actual child. Like, I didn't know
Oh
what
my
anybody looks like. Oh
God.
my God. It was so stressful, and so I was so freaked out in the dream that at a certain point I woke up and I was like, oh my God, thank God that was a fucking dream.
I mean, thank God, Karen.
Oh my God.
We would be talking about legal, like, action that would be against. I mean, I don't even want to think about it if it was real. I am so sorry that you had that experience in your dream. That is so fucking stressful. Like, was there a moment when you woke up that you're like a millisecond that you're like, oh, that's real for sure?
I mean, I woke up thinking, like I said, oh my God, I'm so glad. Thank God that's a dream. But then I also almost looked at my phone to look for the photo of the dog.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is so intense.
What what does it all mean? That's the other thing that I'm really questioning. MLB, some of you know, is a psychologist and like just happens to be like re-studying like Freud and dream interpretation right now, like has to pass
Ooh,
an
that's
exam. And so it's
cool.
like, and it was just like was trying to talk me through what like another random dream meant. And I'm like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know what this dream means. Like, so bizarre.
That's so interesting. It makes me wonder if it means something about like responsibility. Like you had responsibility for 12 dogs and 12 kids and then like they poof went away, but maybe it's not a bad thing that they went away. Like maybe you don't have to be responsible for everyone. I don't know. Now I'm just psychoanalyzing and I have zero mental health background. So I have no idea.
What are you talking about? Katie, you've hosted a mental health podcast for
You're
two
right.
and a half years.
We're basically both PhDs actually. What am I saying? What am
Oh
I
my
saying?
God.
I mean, that's interesting. I actually feel like that's a long dream too. Like I remember snippets of my dreams, but I don't ever remember the whole thing. And usually if I remember the snippet, it's like the worst snippet. Like it's like some sort of full-on Jordan Peele horror movie. It's like I can't even. But like I mean that's kind of like there's a narrative arc in your dream.
Oh yeah.
It's
I wish
fascinating.
I didn't remember it. And like I said, that was the third night in a row. And it's just like I'm I mean, I feel like I'm going to bed thinking like, now what's gonna happen?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like you're signing up for like one of those, those gifts that you see, like those wrapped gifts at like little at shops where you can buy it, but you don't know what's in it. Who
Yes.
buys those, by the way? I have no idea. It's like $10 and it's like, this is a surprise. And it's like, what? Maybe that's not a good analogy, but yeah, that's just what it
Ooh,
makes me think of.
no, you're absolutely right. I will say I made that face because I did once, I think it was ModCloth. I did buy a mystery clothing item,
Ooh,
I think from ModCloth, and it turned out to be one of my favorite dresses. So
really?
yeah,
Is ModCloth still around? I used to love them.
I know they're owned by Walmart now.
You're kidding. Really?
No, I'm pretty sure they're the brand I'm thinking of that got bought by Walmart. Yeah.
That's fascinating. Huh. Yeah, they were a really cool company. They're in San
I
Francisco.
know.
I remember interviewing their founders. I went to their like
Oh,
their warehouse, I guess, but it was so long ago, at least 10 years ago, but like it was a cool concept. Yeah, ModCloth. Hmm. Should look on the Walmart website. Wow, but dreams. I mean, that just I hope that tonight is a good one. I really do. I hope you wake up and you're
thank
like,
you.
that was fabulous. That just enhanced my life.
Yep. Same. Let's go with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I do not remember my dreams, but I do remember like reoccurring dreams. And
Mm.
my reoccurring dream, which has not happened in a long time, but it's it was when I don't know if I've talked about this on the pod, but so I was in the marching band in high school and I played in the drum line and there was always this thing called a step off. Have I talked to you about this?
I don't think so.
Okay, so like it's on the way to so basically what the marching band had to do is we had to march from the band room next to the high school to the field, the football field before the beginning of the game. And it's probably like a fourth of a mile. It's not far at all. It's just like down the way. But anyway, the thing is that you had to be there for step off or you missed the game basically, or you missed that part of it. And like you're doing a formation on the field and this whole thing. Anyway, and I was like a harried teenager. Like I never like my room was never clean. My car was never clean. My dad would joke that my car was fit together with bumper stickers, and he was right. Like I had shit everywhere. I every single time that I was ready to like go to band practice or to the football field for like an actual game, like I couldn't find my drumsticks anywhere. And so my whole thing is that I can't find my shit. And like I think I missed the step off. It's like the worst feeling because like the last time I had a step off, I was 17 years old. Like this is a long time ago. This stuff sticks with you, you know?
It does, which, while unfortunate, is a good segue to our theme today.
Perfect segue, Karen. Nice catch. That was unintentional, but should have been intentional.
As you intended. Yes, the way that our memories, our brains, our bodies hold on to things, the way that we subconsciously hold on to things. And what does it look like to let go? How do we let go?
How do we let go? It just makes me think of the song from Frozen. Have you watched Frozen?
Only the first one.
I've never seen any of them, but that song, I know, I need to. Maybe I'll watch that tonight. But like, let it go. Like Kristen Bell singing that is so beautiful. Like
Oh,
I just, yeah. Or is it
I think
Men?
it's Adina.
You're right. It's Adina Menzel, right?
Yes.
Shit. Sorry, Adina. You're right. Need attribution where attribution is due. But that is such a good song. That is such a good song. And also, how do you let shit go?
Ooh. Especially things that are unresolved.
Hmm.
Like we were talking about earlier, like your body, your brain, your subconscious, whatever, holds on to things that holds on to trauma, like it gets baked into who you are. It's just like it's in there and you have to unlearn, you have to learn how to untangle all of it. And I feel like it's also hard, at least for me, to let go of things that feel like they're not resolved. Like, how do I let this go if I don't know how it ends?
Like you don't have closure from the other person.
Well, yes,
Yes.
totally.
I don't know. Like I wish I knew. It's like such a good question. It's so hard to let stuff go when like if the other person is around still that like they're not willing to face it or there's like the conversation can't be had because it's just too painful or whatever. It's like I have heard though that like some people, I don't know, I've heard this on podcasts or maybe read it in books, but like when people do enough work on themselves to like heal their relationship with that person on their own, like genuinely on their own, it actually shifts some sort of energy. Have you heard of that?
I have heard of some version of that. And I think it is some master class level shit if you can get to resolution and get to closure on your own.
Yeah, totally. And I also think there's something to be said for like saying that it's okay if you're not 100% great with it, you know?
Yeah.
Like letting it go for me at least doesn't always mean that I feel great about something. Like, oh, you know
Yeah.
what? That is awesome. That was, closed door on that chapter. It's like, yeah, sometimes it just the pain dulls after a while, but like I don't know if I'm making any sense.
You are. I totally know what you mean. I think, yes, the acuteness of the pain goes away. I mean, like time does help. Like the passage of time isn't going to completely eliminate it, but it does help. And I think it's interesting to me when I think about like things that I used to hold on to or that I felt like were really unresolved, even not working on it and having it come up again and realizing that the sting of it is gone. It's
Hmm,
just gone away on its own.
that's beautiful.
Yeah,
Like that you didn't actively like it's been years since you've thought about something and you're like, "Oh, that's interesting. I feel differently about that now thinking about it."
totally. Yeah, like my whatever, I don't know, my spirit, I don't know, whatever has let go of it for me.
Yes. Yes. I love that. I love that because it means that you don't have to always strive. It's not like you always
Mm,
have to do something to let something go. Like you can let time run its course, your body run its course, live your life. I think that like there are so many things that are hard to let go of that can take up such an enormous amount of like the pie chart of your brain. And it's like, what if it's possible to like reduce that a little bit at times? And yeah, and like, yeah, for me, it's like taking care of myself. Like that's the only thing that like really, really helps me. And yeah, I think I also find that like if I'm really angry at someone, it's very easy for me to vilify them in a very bad way and say they're horrible and all of these things. And then time goes on and in my head they're still horrible. Like they're a horrible person. Like that's just an awful thing that this person did. And over time I change and it like makes me wonder like maybe I could make space enough to think maybe they change too. And like there's like forgiveness as part of it, I think.
that is definitely part of letting go. Totally. Yeah. And I know we've talked about this before. It's like that phenomenon I think neither of us understand about like having beef with someone. I feel like this is something generations older than us do. Having beef with somebody over something and like never getting over it.
Yes.
Maintaining this level of anger about it. Not just like, you know what, I don't want you in my life. Like, go with God, we're good. But like just this rage toward that person for decades.
Yes. Yes. Active rage.
Yes.
And it's like I mean, of course people say like that only hurts you that you carry this active rage, but it's true in so many ways. Like I know a lot of people who are close to me who have cut off their relationships with family members, parents or siblings or grandparents, what have you. And it's so interesting what you said just a minute ago where you're talking about how like if you go with God and like good for you and like go and like you do you, but it's not that way. Like they're like in and I don't want to paint a broad brush, but many of the people that I'm thinking of right now, which I will not name, but like no. Like they are actively angry like all the time at these people and it makes me sad. I have a close friend both of her parents are living and there's some situations that she was not okay with as a child and she has decided to let those relationships go and it makes me sad because she brings it up frequently about how much it bothers her that these people did this thing or this and it's like also Karen like even saying this stuff I'm like I can't judge her for not letting it go. Like I don't know. Like I don't know. I'm not her. I wasn't in her childhood. It's hard. Like it's
Yeah.
ugh.
Well, it's really hard and it's hard to realize. I think we both talked about having the experience of realizing that this thing that keeps coming up, that there is a part of you that is holding on to it. Like you
Yes.
look down at your hand and you realize, like, oh, I am like clenching this thing
Yes.
that like feels like it's just, oh, I don't know. It just keeps coming up. I don't know why it's still here. I don't know why it's still lingering. It's just like, oh, because I am like just holding on to it for dear life.
Right. It's like that stuff to let go of. Like there has to be a charge behind it for it to even be something to let go of. Like what if you lessened the charge or turned it down 1 degree or a 0.1 degree? Like, what would that feel like? I mean, I once had a therapist where I was talking to her about something and I don't remember what it was, but she's like, what if you weren't mad about that? Like, what would
Mm.
that be like just for your body? And it was the weirdest, most revolutionary question ever. She wasn't being judgmental at all. It was very just like a loving, open question. And I was like, I mean, I was just speechless. And I was like, well, if I wasn't upset or if I didn't have a charge about on this, I would feel free. And that's how I felt. I was like, I would feel free. And she's like, okay, like that's just an interesting inquiry. It wasn't like she was like, okay, get over it. But she just, like it really made me like think about it because I don't think I don't think anyone's ever asked me that before. Like, well, what if that just
Mm.
wasn't what if you just let it go? Like, what if that didn't bother you anymore? Like, genuinely, you thought about it without saying, well, yeah, but this person, yeah, but what if, no, 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 I can't know. Just like, what if you did?
Man, that is some Jedi level shit right there.
I mean, she was an amazing therapist. And so like I like thinking about the being a Jedi her level, but yeah, no. Not exactly to that levitation at the moment.
But knowing that you can ask yourself that question.
Yes, exactly. Right. Like,
Yeah.
what does that mean? Like, Byron Katie is this like amazing spiritual teacher. Have you heard of Byron Katie?
I feel like you've mentioned him before,
You're
maybe.
right. I probably have. And so, like, she asks these three questions. Oh yeah, does she asks these three questions, and I don't remember all of them. But the first is it true? Whatever you're ruminating on, and the second is it really true? And like really, like you have to really think about it. And then I think the third is like, what if it didn't, what if it wasn't true? Or what if it was like
Mm.
something like that? Like these are very basic questions, but like thinking about like someone who wronged me or someone who did something like that, like what if it's not true? Or what if the story that I'm telling myself could be altered? Like what if it's not set in stone? What if I really could let it go?
Yeah. Oof. And that's the shit. And I feel like I have spent a lot of this year trying to let go of the trauma of my terrible year
Yeah.
and this sense of disappointment in myself. Like, oh, I should have handled these like massive life changing events in my life. Oh, I should have handled that with more grace. Oh, I should have been better about that. Oh, I shouldn't have been reactive. Like all of this weird shit I was telling myself, like, when I acknowledged that like any one of those eight things would have taken any other person just completely fucking out. And I dealt with
Yes.
all of them at the same time. And I feel like I've spent a lot of the year like letting go of this sense of shame and disappointment and other people's like judgments and anger and rage and misdirected emotion. Like this has just taken me months to do. And I have to think about it all the time. Whenever something comes up, I have to think like, that's not mine and I don't want it. I'm gonna let it
Oh,
go.
wow. That's not yours and you don't want it and you're letting it go. Fucking mic drop. Mic drop. Identifying what's yours and what's not is like a life's work, in my opinion.
It's a lot of effort.
It,
Emotional
it
effort. Yes.
totally. But I love what you're saying too about like letting go of the shame of whatever you're feeling. Because I think that there's this idea that like if you let go, it's like, oh, you're good now. Like there, it's
Mhm.
like, no, like everything's fine. It's like, well, what about like letting go of any residual like internal struggle that you're having about not being able to let go? I mean, getting really meta here, but like it's okay if you're like just letting go of expectations of how you're supposed to let go. God, I don't know.
Ooh,
That
yeah,
make
no,
sense?
that's great. That's really, really good. And I wonder if it's one of those things like some of these things that I feel like I've been processing, I realized that time was the thing that was going to dissipate this thing. That
Mm.
some of it I was like I actively was working through, and some of it was just like, I'm just gonna leave this here. And when I come back to it, it's probably not gonna sting anymore, or it's probably not gonna matter to me, or whatever this was that felt so important to me will have shrunk and gone away. Like, I'm just gonna leave it here. I'm not gonna work on it. I'm not gonna do anything with it. Just setting it down over there.
Yes. That is so beautiful. And how has that experience been for you, Karen?
Well, sometimes I go and I like look at it again. I just like lift the like mental, like, oh, I wonder if I'm still, oh, nope. Yep. That still sucks. Still mad about that. Okay. Great. Great. Cool. 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 We don't, we don't have to talk about it again. Right. Like, good to know. I'll be back a little later. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And also just honoring where you are
Yeah.
in the
Totally.
moment. Yeah. I mean, because like your past year, like like you said, it would have taken the majority of human beings down. And it's like, just, yeah, like treating yourself with kindness for whatever pacing you have for the letting go or the looking at things when you want to or not. Yeah.
Yes. I will also name this is a less lofty frame for me. I'm also a writer, and a lot of the things that happened to me, part of what made them difficult is that I was silent through them.
Ooh.
That my part of the story has not been told, that I purposely and the people that I purposely made a choice to be silent, and that the people around me honored that choice and protected me from having to speak. But that story is in me. And part of me, part of the reason that I'm able to like let some of these things go is that it's just like I'm letting it go for now. I'm letting it float out somewhere, but I know when I need it, when I'm ready to tell the story, I can grab it again and fucking buckle up, people, because I'm gonna tell you how I really feel. Like
Yes.
I don't have to be silent anymore. I didn't sign any NDAs. I have no non-disparagement clauses in anything. I can tell the real story, my part of the real story. And I feel like that is also comforting to me. Like, wow, I could tell these people all about themselves and no one can do anything to me. And that feels pretty good.
That's
That has helped me let go.
that's amazing. Like just taking that agency of knowing that it's there, that it's in the ether, that you can grab it, like you say, like, oh, and also like owning that part of your story. So it like, at least for me, when I write, and I wonder if it's similar to you, when I write about things that I'm thinking about or in my body, it takes it out of my body.
Yes.
Like it's a way of processing it. Like I frequently do not know how I feel about something until I write it down.
All the time. It happens to me all the time.
All the time. It's like you're staring at something too close to your face and you can't focus. And then when you take it out and you just write it down in a journal or whatever it is, like it doesn't need to be, poetic or win a Nobel Prize. Like it's like you just or Pulitzer. It's like just write whatever you want. Like who cares? Like it's for you.
Oh man. So many examples of that. And this is a very sad one. Like obviously also the opposite of keeping it light. Listeners, if you don't want to be down about it, just fast forward a couple seconds. But I, as many of you know, lost my brother in 2004. And I would say this was maybe 4 years ago. I wrote an essay about survivor guilt,
Yeah.
like processing that emotion. And just the process of writing that and thinking it through and having people's reaction to it really lifted so much of that trapped emotion for me.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, that is a gift to the world, Karen. Oh my God. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Did you have a moment where you knew you wanted to to let that part of it go, or was there like a
So what happened was I don't know if you remember this sad period. I think it was 2018, maybe 2019, when Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain both died at like right around the same time.
yes.
And it was just like, oh, so now the whole world is talking about suicide in the dumbest fucking ways. No nuance, complete like, oh, really? This is just going to be in my face all the time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
people are just going to be seeing these stupid, stupid things all the time. And I feel like it was like this letter. I think it started as a Facebook post, maybe, but it was just like two other survivors, like, you don't have to feel, I know exactly what you are feeling as people are saying these dumb things, and you don't have to feel this way.
Oh,
I think that's how I framed it, actually.
wow. So it's like you were talking to the world and you were also talking to yourself.
Totally.
Like a
Yes.
gift. Like you were giving a gift to yourself and the rest of the planet who has been impacted. Wow. That's so beautiful. I do remember that time very well. I think they both passed away within a month. I mean, it was very, very soon. Yeah.
Really close to each other. And I feel like Robin Williams had died like not that
Yeah.
much before that. And yeah, yeah, that's a whole That is a podcast episode we will never do because man, that's too dark. But like, yeah, I just the way that our culture deals with death in general, but particularly suicide, is just like it's so awful. Just awful.
Yes. Yes. I totally agree with you. Did it make you feel like there was a moment of letting go with part of the experience, or what was the like it was like a therapeutic, healing at all, or
I think it was realizing that I had been able to name this unnameable thing, this previously unnameable thing. Like,
yes.
what is this feeling that keeps coming up? What is this thing? Because I feel like, and what I talk about is like people frame it as if something you could have done something.
Oh,
There's this notion that like you as a survivor could have prevented this some way. And if you didn't, it is a failing somehow on your part. And that I feel like I hadn't been able to name before.
yeah.
And so, even, yes, just the process of like realizing what that thing was and laying it out as a writer, and like not just laying it out, but laying it out as, a journalist would, like, right? Like in this essay, I will, like, in that way.
Yeah,
It's like,
totally.
okay, I have processed this thing. I'm so glad that I know what this is. And now I don't have to hold on to it anymore, or it's not in there anymore in
That's
the same
so
way.
beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I
Of course.
think the naming is so powerful because it's like I don't know how to articulate this properly, but it's like your body is already naming it, but it's not in words or in like some sort of understandable format. So when you're able to actually put it into a like concise sentence and an essay like you're talking about, like, oh my God, that is a gift. Like that's incredible. Yeah, I really recommend people write. Like, even if you don't identify as a writer, truly, like, whatever you write is fine. Like, I recently was thinking about the new Michelle Obama book. Tyler got it for me at Target the other day. I haven't started reading it, but I think, and I don't know if this is entirely true, but I think some of it is like torn from her diaries during or her journals during COVID. Like she was having a really hard time. And like, okay, Michelle Obama is like one of the most put together people on the planet. And I, for one, never, I'll say now, never want my journals to be put into a public format ever. Ever. I do not consent to that. Like that is, and so the thing is that I mean, if I want it to be public, then I would, make it public. I don't want my innermost thoughts. Like I think that's the thing that like I think there's some, when people write for themselves or write in a journal or write, an email that's really important to them to friends about their experiences or their feelings, like there's this idea that you're supposed to write it in a certain way that needs to be, really poetic and like totally understandable. And it's like, no, like just write, like your body and your life and your insides are messy and that's okay.
This reminds me, this episode is not sponsored by Katie's classes. Are you still teaching your writing workshops? Listening to you talk about this so
My God.
eloquently.
I mean, really eloquent. Oh my God, I feel like I'm fumbling, hot mess. But like, I thank you. But like, no, I haven't been doing my writing workshops lately. Although I should get back into it or do like a different iteration of it. Yeah, my writing workshops, for those who are listening who don't know what they are, I used to do these writing workshops called Joy and Vulnerability workshops, and the entire point is to write vulnerably and not in like a journal way. Like it wasn't like I mean, maybe some people decided to do it that way, but the prompts were kind of they were like an exploration of like whatever you wanted them to be. They could be very light, they could be very deep. But you're right. Like it's therapeutic to write your stuff down and name whatever it is that you're going through or thinking about.
And yes, releasing it from your body. I love what you said earlier about, yes, getting it out of your body.
Yes, yes. Actually, tomorrow is the full moon, and I'm
Oh,
in this like full moon, new moon circle with some of my closest friends. It's like really cool. We just started it, and we meet on Zoom once a month.
oh,
And yet today, we not yesterday, today we met for a full moon releasing. And so apparently, when the full moon is out, then you're like the idea is to release like whatever you want to release or celebrate your wins or whatever it is, like you're releasing things or you're celebrating things. And then when the new moon happens, it's like you're bringing in intentions and like for the next month you want to make intentions. And it's like, damn, I'm just learning about this stuff. I really don't know what I'm talking about, but it feels very powerful.
It is really powerful. Oh, I love it so hard. And I just feel like this podcast needs to get so much witchier than it is.
It really does. It really, really does. Yes. I feel like we need some tarot card readers on this. We need some
Yes.
astrologists on this that can tell us all kinds of stuff. And like maybe even in the beginning of a month, have an astrologist talk about that month and what people can do to like tap into their intentions or, yeah, I don't know, whatever they would want to talk about, I guess is what I would be interested in talking about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is a random, completely random. And then I know we probably have to go. This is, oh my gosh, this has been so good.
Same.
I'm also realizing that Rachel, if you're still listening, Rachel Kramer Bustle is a former guest and the editor of Best Women's Erotica, which just came out.
Ooh.
A new edition is just out.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I have to get it.
I know. And I'm realizing this is the first year in like 3 years that I haven't interviewed Rachel and some of the writers about the collection because Princess and I used to do the Feminist Erotica podcast, and every year
Yes.
we'd have them on. And so I realized, like, oh, I really missed Rachel. So if you're listening, just know that I miss you, and maybe we should have I
Yes.
we can talk about it, but
Oh, I'm so here for that.
so I mean, so powerful and so good. And the theme of this year's anthology is play. So all of the stories are about play in some way. Oh, she's such a talented editor, and the stories are always so good. And I'm very excited to pick it up. So
Oh my gosh, I would love to have Rachel back on the pod. It's been a long time, like
I know.
probably 50 episodes ago at
Oh
least.
God.
Like it's like
Oh
that would be
God.
amazing. I would love to see her and talk about Best Women's Erotica and talk about like her editing process and how she's doing and like yeah, her life.
Puzzles. Yes.
Puzzles, that's right. She's into puzzles. I remember that. That's such a great idea. Yeah. Well, letting go. I feel like we're tip of the iceberg with this. Like this is like I also feel like I would love to talk to someone about letting go in terms of like someone who feels free and like just lets shit go. Like one of the people that comes to mind is Jane Fonda. I don't actually know if she actually lets shit go, but she just turned 85 and I was listening to her on Glennon Doyle's podcast. I know she's amazing. And she's processed a lot of her life. And one of the things that she talked about was that like she really became free when she was 62 when she divorced Ted Turner, and that's her third husband. And she was talking about how like she finally felt like she was embodied in herself, and that the way she did that was she actually studied herself. She studied like I mean, okay, so it's Jane Fonda. She's very famous. She's the daughter of Henry Fonda. There's a lot of, like video footage and things that not the average person who's not Jane Fonda might not have. But if you think back on your life, like what she said was she's like, I started looking at my life and how because she was very broken after the divorce from Ted
Mhm.
Turner. And she was living in like her, daughter's guest bedroom. And she was just like in a low place. And she was like, I realized after looking at my whole life that I'm brave, that I'm really brave. And she's like, I don't think I realized that I was brave until I was in my early 60s. And it just makes me think that, like, like letting go can be also part of like us retrospectively looking at our lives and looking how amazing we are and how we've let other things go in our lives. And like, just like knowing that there's a template that we actually are so much more powerful than we might give ourselves credit for.
I love that. Also love Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin
Oh my
and Dolly Parton, of
God.
course.
Yeah,
And
same.
I love this idea of if you let something go, what else can you hold on to? Like, what are you freeing yourself to pick up once you let things go? Like
Yes.
letting go of this sadness about Ted fucking Turner. Are you kidding me right now?
Seriously.
You're able to pick up, right? She's able to pick up this new notion of herself. It's so cool.
Right. And reinventing herself. Like,
Yes.
starting it anew and like, picking up a different narrative and like not sticking with the same thing. Also, Jane Fonda, if you're listening, you're welcome any day of the week. That would be epic. That would be beyond. Well, maybe not as good as Michelle Obama, but one can dream.
We're going to keep dreaming.
Keep dreaming. All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. We will see you next week.